All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming. I'm Aurora. This is Kyla. And me, Kyla, and Alyssa put this festival together. The goal is to celebrate the Vortex. Many of you have heard about the Vortex of Crestone. And a lot of people come and ask, what does the vortex mean? And I think that's a question that we have yet to answer. But we are going to have lots of different talks to discuss the uniqueness of Crestone, of the Valley, and what makes this place unique. And so Kyla and I are going to talk about the birth chart, the astrological birth chart of Crestone. I have been wanting to get my hands on this chart forever. Okay, so Crestone was, so the thing with towns, right, is we're going to have a historian here tomorrow who's going to talk about how the valley got settled and the Spanish explorers and the natives and all of that. But with a town's chart, you're really looking at when it's incorporated, when it's officially founded, and that is the way that we do the birth charts of a town. We did rectify the time. I think when you guys hear the chart, you'll know that this is exactly what Crestone is. So the birth chart of Crestone was born on March 29th, 1901. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the fascinating aspects, and then Kyle is going to talk about the other fascinating aspects. So to start off with, this is an Aries town. So, and when you're looking at the sun placement of a chart, the sun is typically the loudest in a chart. Okay, it's the essence of the person, the essence of the place. It comes through very strongly. I think the reason we don't necessarily feel, I think there is a lot of Aries energy here. Aries is a leader, an initiator, a pioneer. It's a fire sign. Okay, so there's a lot of oomph to Aries. But I think the reason why it doesn't necessarily come across immediately is because the sun in this chart is in the 8th house. And the 8th house is the house of Scorpio. So there is mystery, there is darkness, there is light, there is transformation. And I think anybody who comes here knows that that is part of what the vortex is. The vortex doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you need. Yeah. It is a mirror. It's going to show you yourself, and Aries is the self. So everybody who comes here, you will find yourself, but it is a deep dive. It doesn't come right away. You have to face the shadows, the triggers, the wounds, the transformation. But I do believe right now in the skies, we do have Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So those are sitting around Crestone's sun. So we are going through a transformation as a community, as a collective, to find our sovereignty, our own empowerment. And so that was one of the first things that stood out to me. The other thing that really stood out to me was everybody always makes jokes of like, if you go out to a restaurant here, a bar, a shop, a store, you're not going to have a normal conversation. Okay. Everyone is going to be talking about the woo, things that are taboo, things that are not your average chit chat. And that is because we have Mercury in Pisces. So Mercury in Pisces in the 7th house. So the way we all speak and relate to each other is actually quite intuitive. There can also be a lot of miscommunications. So I would encourage clarity to be given often. But the beautiful thing about Mercury and Pisces, Mercury is our thought processes. It's our mental body. It's how we share, communicate, learn. This is a community that can have incredible downloads, intuitive thoughts, creativity. This is a place where you open up to kind of receive more of a spiritual communication than anything else. And so I think that is what also gives it the vortexy vibes. A lot of people come here and they have beautiful realizations, downloads, epiphanies. But the other thing is it can cause confusion. And so I would say that this is why it's important for everybody to talk to one another, share what you're going through, share your experiences. The way we're going to come to clarity is through each other in this chart. There's a lot of empathy, a lot of compassion. And the other thing, we also have Venus in Aries, Venus at 0 degrees Aries. Venus is the love language. It's the way the community gets together. It's how we give and receive and share love. 0 degrees of Aries is hot, hot to the trot. So I would say another thing that, we have to be aware of here is, impulsiveness. We have to really anchor in and remember that we're all just human beings having a spiritual experience. And we have to love each other in that way, lean into that Mercury in Pisces. Now, a lot of you have probably also, who have lived here for a while or visited for a while, wonder where the intensity comes from, the vortex intensity. We do have our North Node in Scorpio. And the North Node is the node of destiny. And so our destiny is a deep transformation. It is to go down into the underworld and bring the light into it, to rise back to the top. The North Node is also in the 3rd house of communication. So it's like I said, this community, it's so important to talk about the energies, to talk about what everyone's feeling, to share your experiences, right? And to remember that sometimes the intensity here can bring on depression. It can bring on pessimism, lower thoughts. And we've got to transmute those because we are all very, very intertwined, very powerful community. And we have to use that power wisely. And I'm going to turn it over to Kyla to kind of discuss the other very interesting placements that are going to become really important this Wednesday, because we have a total solar eclipse in Leo that is going to hit this chart pretty dead on. So, right.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you all for having me. One of the most interesting things about Crestone's chart to me is most of the time when we think about spirituality, we think about the element of water. And the only water elements in Crestone's chart is it's Mercury in Pisces and then that North Node in Scorpio, which Scorpio also has this joke that it's like a secret fire sign, which has how it accumulates. And that's the thing that I really love about this, because first of all, sometimes charts are so on the nose. Like when you look at this, you have to believe in astrology. You just feel the essence from it. Like spirituality is different here. And I think that's in a lot of the miscommunication. It's fire, right? This is like the dragon, and we see that with this town having a Leo moon in the 12th freaking house, you guys. I mean, come on. So first of all, I'm a Leo moon in the 1st. So when we want to think about how something expresses itself, like Leo rules, the sun rules Leo. So Leo likes to shine all the time. So when we put it in the moon, La Luna does what she wants to when she wants to. She doesn't work all the time and she doesn't work for free. So Leo moons can have a difficulty anyway. That is something that wants to shine. Sorry, can you hear me? Sorry, I'm new to the microphone thing. I'm much better with the camera in my face. Leo moon in and of itself is kind of a difficult placement. That's something you have to shimmy with. That's something you have to work with, that power. But in that moon placement, that wants to hide, that wants to be secretive. Does anyone know a Leo that wants to hide or be secretive? Leos like to express whatever, Justin. Leos love to express themselves. They want to be seen. They want to be validated. They want people to know that they're here. The 12th house is not the place for that either. the 12th house is the house that I compare to a lot as like when you're pregnant and the womb. It's a part of you, it's a part of your body, but it's also completely separate. And it's also completely like back to source. So I think it's really funny because the 12th house is known as the house of secrets or shadows or spirituality. And so like we have a hard time with the fact that like with our spirituality and how it expresses itself, because it's not just the moon there either. We also have Mars. So our soul imprint, how we drive, how we go for what we want, wants to be very loud, very expressive. But it's in this shadow, this spirit side that says, hey, you're not going to get any applause here because there's no applause in Crestone, right? Just like there's no secrets, there's no applause. The only applause that you should care about is the applause from the mountain. And that's really what this chart says. Like, it's nobody else, but we all have a little bit of issue with that energy. But there's so much stuff that's on the nose with that spirituality. But yeah,
yeah. So with the Mars in Leo in the 12th, Moon in Leo in the 12th, like Kyla said, it's Leo's joy too.
Oh, yeah.
It's joy, it's art, it's expression. It is the love of life. But in the 12th house, it's very hidden. Think of the 12th house as a cave, for those of you who have a lot of 12th house placements.
It's a 12th house.
Yeah, this is a 12th house town, right? Everybody wants peace, quiet, somewhat of a solitude. But then there's this strong impulse within the community that wants to shine and be seen and express themselves. And so it's something we have to work through. We have to get comfortable being seen. We have to get comfortable being a little out there, putting yourself out there, especially for those of you that are artists and musicians. And, you know, everybody in the world should really know about Crestone. It is one of the most unique places in this entire world. And so the eclipse that's coming up on Wednesday is going to hit our 12th house here in Crestone. And so there's a lot of ways that could express, but in the highest way, this is a bursting of light from the shadows. This is a coming out of the cave into the sunlight. This is you stepping out of your shell and into your most authentic, true self. And I also think it could be a total burst of just joy. I mean, in this moment in time in history, in this country, in this day and age, there's not a lot to celebrate, but we can still celebrate the beauty of this community, this vortex, this mountain, the people. The last thing I wanted to end with was that we do have Pluto and Neptune and Gemini here in the 10th house. Now, Neptune is consciousness. Pluto is power, but it is also trauma. It is also wounds. It is fears. And when you have planets in the 10th house, they are meant to be seen by others, similar to Leo energy, but they're meant to be recognized for their accomplishments. And I think here we have such a unique way of being, a unique way of community, a unique way of thought. And that should be recognized by others. I do believe Crestone is and will become a hub of the new paradigm, whatever you want to call it. But this is a community that I think has the potential to lead the world in many ways. Sun and Aries in the 8th house, of how to really be a community, how to thrive, how to be sustainable, how to collaborate with one another, and also how to respect nature, energy, spirit, the mountains, how to work with it. I think this will become a hub of teaching, and I hope more people come to Crestone to learn. You know, we've got the energy fair, we've got the spiritual centers, and we've got amazing work being done by the community, and I hope it's seen and validated by more of the world. But just so everybody knows, if you were, as they say, if you were called into the vortex, you're meant to be here. This is the most transformational place you could ever go to. And so if you are here Thank you for being here. We love you guys so much. Thank you all for coming to support us, and we hope you guys enjoy the day.